What if I told you that there is wrong ways, right ways, and impossible ways to purchase gas for your vehicle, specifically within the ride-sharing space? Now, to get to these points, I'm going to kind of have to go through how these payment cards work to begin with. Okay? So I'm going to go through Uber with the Uber Pro card, and I'm going to go through DoorDash with the DoorDash Crimson card. Again, my market doesn't have Grubhub, so I can't address that program. If you do have Grubhub, feel free to drop it in the comments, some of the details, and see how well they match up compared to the Uber and the DoorDash cards. So first, I'm going to go with DoorDash Crimson. DoorDash Crimson, of course, you can have your earnings at the every dash automatically transferred onto this card. Now, Crimson, of course, like any other card you can use to pay for gas, you can pay for it inside or you can pay for it at the pump. Now, DoorDash will give you, I believe, around 2% back on your gasoline purchases at the pump. Now, you certainly can pay inside, but they'll give you in order to get the reward on DoorDash with the Crimson card, you do need to pay at the pump. One difference though, that the DoorDash card, one advantage it has over the Uber card is that it doesn't matter whether you use a PIN or not. It's irrelevant. You use your card at the pump, you'll get your cash back on the Crimson card. Uber, with the Uber Pro card, is where it gets a little bit difficult or complex. With the Uber card, you have to use it at the pump, and you have to bypass the PIN. Now, why does a card like this do this? Why does it matter? Well, in my previous iteration of this channel, I explained how banks make their money. And cards are a big part of it. Uber's not providing this program out of any charity or anything that they want to give to drivers. They make money off of this, okay? But here's the difference. If you use a PIN at the pump, or if you pay inside using a PIN, card issuers pay what's called interchange. Interchange rates for cards for transactions that use the PIN are somewhere around 2% of the total purchase. That goes from the merchant or the store to Uber. However, if you use it at the pump and you skip the PIN, the amount that gets paid from the merchant to Uber goes up to around 5%. Now, Uber is offering about 2% cash back on pay at the pump purchases without a PIN. So, Uber goes from getting 2% to 5% while giving you 2%. They're still making money off of your purchase and more money off of it than if you had done it the traditional way. Now, here's the problem with the Pro offer. We have pumps locally here in Minnesota that do not allow you to bypass the PIN. If the pump detects that your card has a PIN, you are forced to enter it. So this goes for Holiday, this goes for Quick Trip. Two of the biggest convenience store chains in eastern and southern Minnesota, by the way. You have to enter a PIN. You do not have a chance to bypass it. So the Uber offer, in this particular case for the cashback on the Pro card, is impossible in many pumps in Minnesota. You just can't do it. It's not an option. My suggestion, if you're going to be using an Uber card, of course, if given the fact that many gas stations and pay at the pumps don't allow you to bypass the PIN, pay inside. which really helps if you want to pick up that drink to go with it. Do it all in one transaction, pay inside, use a PIN, screw Dara Coastal Shahi. He's not getting his money today. Dara Coastal Shahi, by the way, is the CEO of Uber and the person who I lay at the feet of any of Uber's pitfalls or problems with, because it's basically his company. He controls everything that happens there, large or small. So before I go off into that, that's the way I view that. Now, going back to the Doordash card, the PIN is irrelevant with the Doordash Crimson card. You pay at the pump, you're going to get your cash back. So a lot of times I will pay at the pump, and then I will go inside and also pay for any of my merchandise that I want, such as drinks or snacks. So if you split it that way, you can actually get a good deal out of it. And so that's the bonus part with the Crimson card. But as far as the Uber Pro card goes, at two of our largest chains, you really can't take that offer. It's impossible. In my opinion, if you're going to have to pay for gas with either of the cards, pick the Crimson card. You're going to get your money back on the gas purchases. It's only gas purchases, by the way. The Crimson card will not give you money back on the purchases in the store. But at the pump, fire away. Enjoy your cash back, and at these particular prices, 2% is not small. With the Crimson card, I will say this much. Don't forget to redeem your cash back, because you do have to take an extra step inside of there in order to get that back onto your card. So log into your app, go into the Crimson card account, and there'll be a redeem button highlighted there when you're selecting earnings or you're in the card itself. If you somehow have the app for the Crimson, there's a separate app for the Crimson card. If you somehow have that, you can go in that way too. So Crimson is the better card for sure. If you have the money on the Crimson card available to spend, that's the way I would go. Pro card has difficulties getting the cash back at all. And again, if you're at a chain that doesn't allow you to bypass a PIN, it's impossible to get to begin with. I will also state that if you have an offer with your bank card, for example, I bank with US Bank, so they have a promotional offer for like 10% cash back on if you use your US Bank debit card. If you can get a better deal that way, if you're shopping it, and if you have a traditional bank card or a traditional bank's debit card, and you can get a better offer on that than either of the gig company's cards, by all means, shop for it. Like I said, US Bank does have a better offer than either Crimson or Uber Pro. So whenever I can, I do use that. But given I'm not getting a regular paycheck right now with a direct deposit, it's going to be usually the Crimson or the Uber Pro card in my case. So anyway, that is my story for today. You folks have a good day, and I'll be back with a different episode. But until then, peace out, homies.